here. So today I'm going to talk briefly about the Indus Valley civilization for a couple of reasons. One, because it's one of the least well known of the ancient civilizations, and two, because I think it's one of, if not the most intriguing. The term ancient civilization usually conjures up images of Mesopotamia and Egypt, with their grand buildings and ornately beautiful artwork and treasures. In the early to mid-19th century, the British were constructing a railway network across India, and in the western region encountered brick ruins, pottery shards, and a steatite seal decorated with a unicorn and unknown symbols. It was here the Indus Valley civilization was discovered, and was estimated to have thrived at the same time as Egypt and Mesopotamia. There are a few things that are really special about the Indus Valley civilization.
1. Its writing system has not yet been deciphered. 2. There are no monuments or large buildings devoted to the wealthy elite, political leaders, or gods. 3. It was a society of modest burials. No rich grave goods or elaborate tombs have been found. 4. There is little evidence of violence and no evidence of wars. And 5. It was a technologically sophisticated ancient society. Its drainage and sewage systems are some of the earliest in known human history. It had excellent engineering skills evident in its docks. It was the first society to use uniform weights and measures, and it was familiar with new techniques in metallurgy. The Indus Valley civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization, inhabited an area of approximately 280,000 square miles of what is now Pakistan and northwestern India. They lived around the Indus River system and the Saraswati River system, the latter of which is now extinct. This civilization was at its height from 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE, but its beginnings are some of the oldest known, with settlements dating to 9,000 years before present.
Archaeologists have identified over 1,500 Indus sites, ranging from small hamlets to larger cities, and we really have no idea how these population centres were organised, whether the cities were feuding or cooperated with each other. There's no indication of a dominating central authority over all the cities, like in Egypt. Or if they were independent city-states, there's no indication, like in Mesopotamia, that they were attacking each other or there was any violence between them.
3 of the major Indus sites you should be familiar with are Mehrgarh, Mohenjo-Daro, and Harappa. Mehrgarh is a 500-acre site on the Kachi Plain in Pakistan and is one of the earliest sites showing signs of the development of agriculture. It's a small farming village, the oldest part of which is called Site MR3, shown on this map in pink, and has been dated to around 7,000 years BCE. Ceramics and copper first appear at Mehrgarh from 5500 BCE to 4500 BCE. In the mid-Bronze Age, sometime around 2800 BCE, we see the mass production of erotic female figurines. They come to us as grave goods and haven't yet been convincingly explained, though they may well pertain to some sort of fertility goddess. Around 2000 BCE, Mehrgarh was abandoned by its inhabitants for unknown reasons, perhaps to move to more fertile soils or to major Indus cities such as Mohenjo-Daro. A new population arrived in Mehrgarh some 600 years later from somewhere near Iran, as ascertained from that society's burials. Mohenjo-Daro lies roughly 150 miles south of Mehrgarh, in what is now the Sindh province of Pakistan. It's the largest of the Indus cities, housing up to 40,000 inhabitants in hundreds of standardised houses built to at least 5 basic designs. There are 2 famous Indus artefacts discovered at Mohenjo-Daro. One is a statue called the Priest King, made from steatite. It's believed to date from around 2500 BCE. Interestingly, it's been argued to represent a yogi, as the way its eyes seem to be focused on the tip of its nose is a well-known method of yoga, and its one-shouldered garment is considered a sacred symbol. It also has a circular third eye. Nothing else in this style of sculpture has been found. Also unique is the bronze dancing girl, made around 2500 BCE as well, from the lost wax method. She is beautiful and unusual and is totally naked except for her jewellery. She also has facial features such as big lips and a wide nose, not usually associated with this part of the world. Like so many aspects of the Indus Valley civilization, she is a mystery. The city of Harappa lies in Punjab, Pakistan, and is roughly 400 miles northeast of Mohenjo-Daro. Spread out over 150 acres, the archaeological site comprises several low mounds and 3 high mounds that rise more than 15 metres above the surrounding plain. Among the ruins of Harappa, this oxen cart figurine was found, a not uncommon object in Indus culture. It's believed to have been a toy, ritual object, or offering to the gods. The Indus Valley civilization were traders, so this figurine shows how they may have transported goods. Archaeological evidence reveals that cities such as Harappa were a hub for trade extending far beyond the Indus Valley. Copper and tin from the west, gold, silver, lapis lazuli, and timber from the north, and semi-precious stones and shells from the south. Scholars today have no idea how the Indus administrative system worked, how they accomplished tasks, solved problems, or kept records. What little writing does exist that has been found is in a language that hasn't been deciphered yet. The longest known inscription is just 17 symbols in length. The Dravidian people today live in southern India, and their language is not related to any known language family. It is possible that the Dravidian language is the key to learning the Indus language. However, until more Indus writing is discovered, we'll never know. Unfortunately, the only ancient writing remotely similar to that of the Indus is Proto-Elamite from Elam in Mesopotamia, and that itself has not been fully deciphered. However, Oxford University academics are working on it and are close to success. Indus Valley cities were planned in a grid layout with streets and buildings oriented in the cardinal directions. Cities are divided into several neighbourhoods and surrounded by large mud brick walls with enormous red brick gateways. Early scholars assumed these were for defensive purposes, but recent excavations at the main gate at Harappa suggest that the walls were created to regulate the flow of goods in and out of the city. Standardised cubic weights recovered are believed to have been used to levy taxes on goods. From excavated buildings both at Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, it is assumed that ritual washing was central to Indus life. In Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilizations, there were temples in the city centres, while Indus cities had baths, wells, and drainage facilities. This emphasis on water is most clearly demonstrated in the Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro. It's approximately 12 metres long by 7 metres wide and has 2 wide staircases leading into it. The floor and sides are sealed with fitted bricks, gypsum plaster, and a thick layer of bitumen. The so-called granary at Harappa was built on a 45 metre by 45 metre brick foundation and consists of 2 rows of 6 rooms. The interpretation of these structures as granaries is based on comparisons with Roman buildings. Recent works highlight the lack of archaeological evidence that these buildings were used as granaries and are now considered to be large halls. Although the Indus Valley civilization completely abandoned their cities sometime around 1700 BCE, traces of their art and technology can be seen in the subsequent cultures of the Indian subcontinent. The concept of yoga is depicted on Indus seals, and symbols appear that are later used in the iconography of Buddhism and Hinduism, such as fish designs, swastikas, the stepped cross, and the pipal leaf design.
So that concludes my little piece on the Indus Valley civilization. As you can see, a lot more research needs to be done if we're ever to understand this mysterious ancient civilization. But the fact remains, we may never know more about them than we do today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.